Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We're going to allow just a minute or two for people to hop on the webinar, and we will get started shortly. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here as we present our keynote speaker for this year's Women in Business virtual conference. My name is Lisa Morris, and I'm the Assistant Vice President of Public Relations for Hudson Valley Credit Union. To get us started today, we're going to have a few words from one of our Hudson Valley Credit Union leaders, who I've had the honor to work with for many, many years. Please welcome Sandy Lublum.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our third annual Women in Business Conference today, featuring our keynote speaker, Dr. Lynn Richardson. I'm Sandy Lublum, Vice President of Branch Administration for Hudson Valley Credit Union. And like you, I wish we could be together in person today. But we are very pleased to still be able to bring these important conversations to our local entrepreneurs and business leaders. I've actually been with Hudson Valley for 38 years. And during that time, I've seen a lot of change in our industry, but also great changes in our local leadership across the region. Small and large businesses have learned the value of employing female leaders. They've seen the talents, skills, and value that we bring to the table, and more women are venturing out on their own to start their own businesses. Many of you are considering a new entrepreneurial venture, and so you're at a bit of a crossroads. I myself am also at a bit of a crossroad, as I've decided to officially retire in December. While I plan to fully enjoy the fruits of my labor, I also feel this is an exciting time to continue actively learning. I may be retiring from my day job, but that doesn't mean my education will end. I look forward next year to participating in Women in Business from your side of the aisle, hopefully. And I'm very proud to have worked so long for a company like the credit union that recognizes the importance of female leaders to our community. Like you, I'm looking forward to hearing from Dr. Lynn today. So without further delay, I'll turn this back over to Lisa. Thank you again for taking the time to be with us today, and I wish you all the best on your leadership journey.
Thank you, Sandy. As you alluded to, we are very hopeful that we can return Women in Business to an in-person session in 2021, but we're so grateful to our many panelists and attendees who helped us make the virtual conference just as meaningful this year. We held two fabulous sessions last week, Staying Creative Through COVID and Lift While You Climb, and they are both available on demand. Just head over to our website at hvcu.org and search Women in Business in our search bar. A few housekeeping items to start. We'll be saving the last 10 minutes or so today for a live Q&A. So we've enabled the Q&A feature found on your taskbar, and we've also opened the chat function. You can use both of those to submit a question anytime during the presentation, and we'll try to get to as many as we can at the end. We also had a few submitted online prior to the session as well that we'll try to get to. And if you need to jump off because we know that life changes very quickly these days, or if you missed parts of the webinar, no need to worry. We will be sending the on-demand recording for this session via email once it's available. So we're very pleased today to be joined by noted financial expert, author, and motivational speaker, Dr. Lynn Richardson. While we've had links to Dr. Lynn's bio on our website, I'm going to let her tell you more about herself, including the lessons she's learned that can help you at this crazy time we find ourselves in. So to get started, let's welcome Dr. Lynn Richardson.
Okay, good morning. Thank you so much. I should say good afternoon. I am on the West Coast, and so it's still very early here, but I know that we have this happening in the afternoon. So I'm very excited. I'm so thankful for this opportunity. Thank you for the leadership who has been so committed to your progress that you would have me come and share what I think are going to be these next 45 minutes or so, and then our Q&A time together. I hope that it will be fruitful, but I think that this is going to be the single most powerful hour that you're going to have as it relates to how you're going to prepare to move beyond 2020. First, I think I should tell you a little bit about myself, because I think if you understand where I came from, you won't be as impressed by the fact that I am a financial expert and I'm on Good Morning America and Home and Family and all these, I guess, major notable outlets, but you'll understand that I am no different than you. I was born and raised in Chicago. My grandmother was 75 years old, cleaning homes for wealthy people, putting me through college. She taught me everything that grandmothers teach their children, like go to school, get a good education, get a good job, go to church on Sunday, wear clean underwear in case you get hit by a bus. I think that's in all of the grandmother's books. I don't care what background, nationality. I think all grandmothers have to tell their children these things repeatedly over and over again. And I remember thinking, wow, if I get hit by a bus, will I even have on any underwear where they find me? And so she taught me those things, but she didn't teach me a lot about money. What I knew about money is we were not rich, but I didn't feel poor. If I needed money for something, I'd ask my grandmother for money for a field trip, and she'd tell me to look in the room, on top of the shelf, behind the box, inside my pocketbook, inside the zipper, wrapped up in a napkin, in a piece of paper towel, is $20. So I'd have to look for the money 22 times, and eventually I guess I'd get it. I never understood how she had a memory that long that could find all those hiding places. But I get off to Northwestern University. I'm at a prestigious college, and I'm there on scholarship. I certainly couldn't afford to pay for it myself. And the very first week of school, I realized I didn't have enough money to live the kind of life that I thought I should live as a young, hot, popping adult getting ready to get our education to go out into the real world. And so I did what a lot of people do. I made the mistake of getting a lot of credit cards. And I went into the big credit card room the first week of school, and I didn't get one credit card. I got one of each. Oh boy, why did I do that? Because when the creditor started calling and saying, Lynn, can you borrow the money? You know how they start asking you personal questions when you can't pay them. I'd say, can I borrow it from you? I had all kinds of funny answers until I got out into the real world. It wasn't so funny. My credit was terrible. My furniture was from Rent-A-Center. I'll never forget that first car that I bought. I think it broke down on the way home from the dealer. And so here I am entering my adult life with this terrible relationship with money. Fast forward, I become successful. I'm a local celebrity in Chicago, host of a radio show called The Real Deal in Real Estate, helping people overcome their credit issues. I helped a lady with 4 bankruptcies and 2 foreclosures overcome her credit issues. Not only did she get into a house with a low interest rate and a good mortgage and a low down payment, but she became a successful real estate investor. Well, along that path, I was not telling the truth. As a matter of fact, I was living a lie. You see, I was living check to Monday. You see, check to check is a blessing. That means you get paid on Friday, and by the next payday, you're broke. But check to Monday is an entirely different game. You get paid on Friday, you kick it on the weekend, you pay on your past due bills, and by Monday, you're broke. And I was living that lifestyle, making $20, $30, $40, $50, $80, $90,000 a month, not a year. I said a month. So I spend my life helping people understand this. More money doesn't solve a money problem. If it did, millionaires wouldn't go bankrupt. If more money could solve a money problem, you'd never have a bankrupt millionaire. You'd never have a bankrupt billionaire. So fast forward, I feel like I have been through multiple pandemics. I feel like I've been through multiple financial crises, starting back in the 90s, moving on to the recession of 2008. And here we are with perhaps one of the worst pandemics that's impacted us economically, emotionally, mentally, and yes, even financially. So how do we move beyond 2020? Well, I'm going to say to you, I'm going to reenact and I'm going to share with you the things that I've always done over time. You see, after I lived that lifestyle and I made all those mistakes, I had to continue to go back and reassess and reinvent. And I think now we've all gotten to a place where we don't want to have to reinvent the wheel 24 times. I think I've got a solution and I've got a method that we can all use that I've used multiple times and that I've not only helped people who are in the workplace and women in the workplace, but I've helped VIPs and celebrities and stay-at-home moms and postal workers and teachers. And so certainly I think that we all share this commonality. and that we simply want to do better, we want to be better, and we want to get better so we can give better. So how do we do that? How do we navigate the workforce? How do we navigate what's happening right now? How do we put ourselves in a position where we can be excellent for the corporation that we work for, excellent for the organization, and then also be excellent for ourselves? Well, number one, I'm going to tell you right now is the time to elevate. Elect yourself CEO of yourself. Elect yourself Chief Emancipation Officer of yourself. Get in order. It's the absolute first thing that I would say. You know, order is the essential element for anything that we want to do that is good and that is great. Order was here first. And so when we get to a time like this, things get out of order. The life that we used to have, the relationships that we used to interact with, even the way we work has all changed. But what I'm going to suggest that you do in electing yourself Chief Executive Officer of yourself and elevating is to get order. Get order of your significant other. Get order in your household. Get order of your extended relationships. And of course, extend that order to how you're going to manage yourself. Put yourself on a schedule. Get more involved with your time. Get more ownership over your time right now. I say people can lie, but energy cannot. So ensure that you are using your energy properly. You know, energy is like money in the bank. Once you spend it, it's gone. And if things are out of order, then we end up wasting lots of energy trying to navigate through disorder when really we can take that time and put that energy into getting things in order. So treat yourself as you have the corporation treat you. Treat yourself as you want your employees to treat you. Right now, we are trying to navigate not only keeping our careers in check, but how are we going to create multiple streams of income, which are important because one stream of income simply is hazardous to your wealth. I think we've been able to see that and to demonstrate that. And so I say in getting things in order, I'm going to ask you to live by the 10, 10, 30, 50. The first 10% of every dime you get, you tithe or you give to whatever organization or cause you'd like to give to. The next 10% you're going to save. The next 30% is cash in your pocket, or it's going to be money on a separate debit card for incidentals. And your incidentals include your groceries, gas, hair, nails, all of the extra things that you want to spend money on. It has to go in this little incidental pot. And the reason why is because during a time like this, we want to avoid a spending addiction. A spending addiction is what you have when you go online shopping or you go to the grocery store for toothpaste and you walk away with $179.47 worth of stuff you don't need, talking about it was on sale. I say it's not on sale for you. It's not on sale for me. It's not on sale for us. Right now, we want to get things in order. We want to elevate. We want to elect ourselves CEO, and we want to get to that place where by any means necessary, we are minimizing our expenses and we're stacking our dollars so that we first get to 3 to 6 months of living expenses. But then I take it a step further and I say aim for 1 year of living expenses. As you begin to create additional streams of income, you're going to find that you're going to reinvest back into your own self. So elevating and electing yourself CEO is the first step, is the first requirement to being this curator, this CEO of this entire empire that you can build. Now I remember living check to Monday, and I remember being a young wife and mother, and I remember the stock market crash of 1997, and I remember trying to figure out how was I going to balance my job that paid me every 2 weeks and I got my benefits and the things that I wanted to do. I was able to look at my gifts. Take a look at your gifts. Take a look at your skills. Take a look at the things that you enjoy doing. I'm pretty sure there's another stream of income there. And I often say to people, if you're going to develop multiple streams of income, make sure you are using corporate sense, S-E-N-S-E, but do not use corporate sense, C-E-N-T-S. See, when you use corporate sense, you're going to operate in integrity with the job that you have right now. You're going to give that job the best that you have. I always say God is not promoting powders, nor is he promoting doubters. So if you want a better opportunity, if you want a better job, then give the one that you have right now all that you have. Give it everything that you've got. Dig deeper. Go further. Find solutions. Create new opportunities. Initiate new thoughts and ideas. And then that energy will roll over into your business and you'll be able to see the benefits. And so I remember being in my 20s and working on my corporate job but then also having multiple businesses. And at that particular time, I was a little bit of everywhere. I was like a Jack or a Jill of all trades. I had many, many things. I was mastering nothing. And it was as if I was on a treadmill running fast with nowhere to go. And so one of the things that I often say, and in my book, The Symphony, I talk about utilizing your skills, your gifts, your energy, and your talent. Use it like a symphony. You see, in a musical symphony, there are many different instruments, and when they all play at the right time, they make one beautiful sound. Well, in your business symphony, you're going to have increments. And when each increment, that's a business that makes money, when each increment is operating at the right time in order, then what you have is multiple streams of income helping you to sustain during this particular time. I think this is absolutely the right time to first elevate and elect yourself CEO. Why? Because this is game time. It is fourth quarter. And I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 90s with the repeating Bulls. And I remember when Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and B.J. Armstrong, that last quarter, they may have to hit the reset button. They may have to go back and get new team players. They may have to re-strategize on their efforts and re-strategize on their on what they were going to do in order to win the game. And so right now, I say this is the time to pull out everything you have and ensure that you are putting yourself in place to win the game. So after you elevate, what do you do next? The next thing that I'm going to say is educate. Now, I talked about that 10, 10, 30, 50. That first 10% you tithe or give, the next 10% you save, the next 30% is cash in your pocket. The remaining 50% stays in your checking account for your bills. After your bills are paid, now it's time for you to educate. What do you do with the rest? Well, the very first thing you want to do is attempt to attack your debt. Get rid of your debt. Why? Because there's a middleman between you and your future, and it's called interest. Interest is earning the money that you could be earning. As a matter of fact, money will work harder for you than you could ever work for it because of this thing called compound interest. Money can work harder and multiply faster and beat inflation, and you'd have to work 3, 4, 5, 10 jobs at the triple the amount of time in order to do what money can do. But money cannot work for you if you have debt. Money will be working for the creditor to whom you are paying interest. And so you want to eliminate your debt, and then you want to get educated. Are you going to get educated about investing in the stock market? Are you going to get educated about another passive stream of income? Is that going to include real estate? Are you going to put your portfolio together in such a way that you can ensure that you have streams of income? So as you educate, you are now the CEO of yourself. You are now Chief Emancipation Officer of your own self, your own life, and your own destiny. As you educate, I want you to think about those areas that you'd like to develop. Surely there's some additional time while we're not moving around. And if there's not additional time, there should be additional time. I often talk about the years when I lived in Chicago in the brutal cold. I took advantage of that time. I went inside somewhere around November 21st, and I didn't come outside until after Valentine's Day or even closer to March. And during that time, I'd get into every single idea that I could. I'd go deeper. I'd get educated. So now is the time. Take a class. There were classes during this particular time, free classes at Harvard, at Cornell. There might be a free class at your community college. Talk to your HR department. Maybe there are some additional ways to improve your skills on your job. But now is the time to educate yourself about your skills. You want to get educated about the businesses that you want to begin to operate. You want to get educated about the tax code. You want to understand how to make your money grow and work for you. You want to get educated. Take absolutely nothing for granted. Anyone who is successful in anything has to get educated in that thing. I remember earlier this year with the unfortunate incident with Kobe Bryant. I remember seeing Michael Jordan on television at Kobe's memorial. And Michael Jordan talked about how no matter what Kobe Bryant did, he wanted to be the best. And so when he wanted to start golfing or whatever it was, he'd call Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan would be slightly irritated at his little brother asking questions. But no matter what it was, he never assumed that he could just do it. He always got the advice straight from the top, and then he went and educated himself. So I'm going to say to you, where are you getting your advice? How are you getting educated? It's one of the reasons why I created New Wealth University, where we have classes on every single thing from getting over a spending addiction to investing in the stock market to protecting your business, understanding the corporate veil, and everything else in between. So now is the time, absolutely positively, to get educated. So first, you're going to elevate. Second, you're going to educate. The next thing that you want to do as you figure out what this looks like for you and how you're going to move beyond 2020, now you want to eradicate. You want to get rid of everything that doesn't belong to you. You want to get rid of every single distraction. You want to get rid of every single habit that you have. You want to get rid of and be honest with yourself. You know, I always say, they say the truth will set you free. And, you know, first it may piss you off. It may make you angry. But if you face the things that are not working for you the way you want them to, remember, you cannot fix what you will not face. And so as you face these things, you want to eradicate them. I say that there are things that we need to face that are going to help us get to the next level. The first one is our feelings. If anytime we make a bad decision, especially as it relates to money, it's usually related to a feeling that we have. It's usually related to some kind of guilt. It's usually related to something. And so I'm going to say, let's be a little bit more like money. Let's be objective. 1 + 1 = 2. And if your stuff adds up to 10, it'll never, ever get into 2. So as you begin to eradicate the things, the bad behaviors, take a look at those feelings. Choose to not look at the glass as half empty. Don't even choose to look at the glass as half full. Remember that the glass is refillable. And even if it gets empty, you can fill it back up again. You can learn something new. I always say whenever I'm in a situation, teach me the lesson so I can get the blessing. And I believe if you apply that as well, you'll be able to eradicate some of the things that may have been blocking you. The next thing you want to be aware of during this time is family. Yes, we love our family, but sometimes family can be a little codependent. I remember my youngest daughter, and I have 3 children. My oldest graduated from Northwestern, and my 2 youngest children are sophomore and junior at Howard University. And my youngest, she was the baby, and she was really kind of spoiled, and I made her that way. And I remember one day saying, you know what? This isn't working even for me anymore. She was terrorizing the whole entire house and the neighborhood. And so I had to kind of put my foot down. And so when it comes to the things that we have to eradicate, sometimes we have to make people a little more independent. You see, helping isn't always helping if it's enabling. I remember leaving Chicago and moving to California during my career and wondering how I was going to make all of this work and feeling guilty because I left my husband and my children. They came the following year after my youngest daughter finished 8th grade so she could start fresh and finish with those friends. And I remember saying, you know what? I'm going to simply focus on my children are going to learn the things that they can only learn in my presence. The people that I'm attached to are going to have to help me move and get this thing to the next level. You see, as women, oftentimes we try to be everything to everybody, but I'm going to tell you right now, you are not Wonder Woman. We cannot go into a booth and spin around and come out with a cape. You're going to have to put some people in their place, put things in check, and yes, that includes family as well. The next thing I'd say is take a look at your friends. I'm not saying get rid of your friends, but I certainly am saying, who are you spending your time with? Who have you attached yourself to during this crisis? Stay around people who you want to be on the same mission with. If you have 5 broke friends, you'll be number 6. If you have 8 broke friends, you'll be number 7. If everyone is always complaining about how everything is so terrible, then you might want to be around people who have a better outlook and a better mindset as it relates to life. Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we respond. So be aware and listen to how the people around us are responding. Here's the next thing I want to talk about. Of course, food. Everybody's talking about, I remember in college, the freshman 15. Now we're talking about the pandemic 25. No, let's pull it all back together. Again, these are things we want to eradicate. First, we're going to elevate, then we're going to educate. Now we're going to eradicate the things that are not serving us. And if food is in the way, I saw something about Whole Foods, and I say, well, Whole Foods is taking your whole check. So if you need to cut down on expenses and you need a simpler meal, then that's fine too. If you need to cut out carbs and take a look at making sure you expand your wallet and minimize your waste, then take a look at that as well. Because it's not all about what you weigh, it's about how you feel. And if you feel better, you can do better, you can be better, and you can operate in that CEO mentality. The last thing I'm going to say is fun. Remember to have some fun, but not too much fun. The only place where fun comes before success is in the dictionary. And so we want to put our fun in check. Unfortunately, sometimes when we get into a crisis, we want to throw everything away, and we want to spend a lot of our time moonlighting and watching television and so on and so forth. And so I'm going to say, if you're not where you want to be, check your fun. I remember when I was living Check the Monday, I found peace, but I wasn't having fun. I found a way out of it, but I wasn't having fun. I minimized the fun. I focused on my strategy. I focused on my goals, and sometimes it was not fun at all. I had to dig deep. I had to work hard, and I believe that if we continue to do that now, we will be in position to move forward. So number one, elevate. Number two, educate. Number three, eradicate. Number four, evaluate. What is it that you want to do? Is there something different that you'd like to do in your career? Is it something, are there growth opportunities? Can you speak to your senior? Can you take on more responsibility without always asking for a paycheck? Now, I know that this is going to sound completely out of order and out of control, because guess what? We're supposed to always ask for more pay. And so, yes, I'm going to say ask for more pay, but sometimes the pay is in the experience. Sometimes the reward is in the service. Sometimes the reward and the pay comes in the opportunity. In corporate America, I never remember giving less because of the amount of money I had or didn't have. I always found myself giving more. I always found myself coming up with new projects. I always found myself evaluating. I always found myself looking at the problems, and instead of complaining about them, working with my team to try to fix those problems. And I remember one point in time when several of my colleagues, and I was number one in the division, I was running a major campaign for one of the world's top financial institutions, and I was working really hard. And I knew my colleagues were not working as hard. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to do what they do. I'm not going to work as hard. That lasted for 5 minutes. I was too itchy to even stop. I couldn't do it. I'm one of those people, either I'm doing it or I'm not. And I'm going to ask you to be a do-it person. Evaluate. Take a look at the budget that you're over in your corporate position. Take a look at the budget in your corporate household. Take a look at the plan for your division or your job or your subordinates or the project that you're working on. Take a look at the plan for your household. Ask yourself, do you need to have a consultation with someone, one of your superiors? What can you do to enhance the work that you do? What can you do to eliminate a problem? What can you do to have foresight to ensure that those things do not become a problem longer than they have to be? And do that same thing in your household. Make sure that you are protecting your opportunities by being as forthcoming and as forthright as you can possibly be. So yes, you're going to evaluate. Yes, you're also going to educate. You're simply going to, you're going to eradicate anything that is getting in the way of where it is that you want to go. And then you're going to evaluate yourself, strategize. What is your next move going to be? What do you want beyond 2020 to look like? If you want beyond 2020 to be better, then you start planning now. I never start planning for the new year in the new year. I always start planning and executing and implementing my strategy for the new year at the end of third quarter, and then really taking it to the next level in fourth quarter. So fourth quarter is here. Now is the time. You are in the right place. This is the season of the harvest, and I know you have the ability to win. And so after you elevate, elect yourself Chief Emancipation Officer of yourself and over your goals and strategies and the things that you are responsible for. It doesn't matter if you're the mailroom clerk. It doesn't matter if you're the postal person. It doesn't matter if you are the processor. It doesn't matter if you're the teller. Each and every one of ourselves have the ability to be the Chief Emancipation Officer and the Chief Execution Officer of the things that we have responsibility over, and to make those things be excellent. You know, I believe in working as if you're working for the Lord and not for men. And if you do that, if you're always excellent, you can get to the next level much quicker as you educate and then eradicate and then evaluate. Finally, you want to execute and communicate. Take a look at the things that you said you want to do. Take a look at those plans. Give yourself a vision of perfection. What's the vision of perfection for this particular task in your job? What's the vision of perfection for your additional stream of income? What would you do if you had the time? Guess what? Now you have that time. How many streams of income are you going to implement? I remember, as I shared back in the 90s, having so many streams of income, I was moving nowhere fast. But you want to have a strategy. You want to do one thing and then add something and then begin to see your streams of income operate together. The same thing with your job and your tasks. Make sure that you reach out to your superior, reach out to your boss or your supervisor or your manager. Talk about the things that you see that you can improve upon, and talk about the things that you see that you want to be responsible for, or at least take part in making better and making your workplace environment that much more desirable. You cannot solve everything, but you can certainly believe in what's possible. So execute and then communicate. Communicate regularly. Initiate conversation. Don't wait for opportunities to come your way. Write them down, and then at the right time, go and have the conversations. Communicate regularly. Don't disappear into the background, even if you're not in the office on a regular basis. Remember to be seen, to be heard, to be fruitful, to be productive, and always to be excellent. Open your mouth. Speak up for yourself. Speak up for others. Speak up for the areas in the business that could use some additional support. Rally your peers, rally your colleagues, and get everybody excited. Be the light, be the beacon of hope during this time, because we now have control over what takes place, not in the world, but we certainly have control over what takes place in our own mind. So I'm going to ask you to keep moving forward, to elevate, elect yourself CEO. Make sure that things are in order. Put yourself on a time schedule. Put your money and your finances on a math schedule. 1 + 1 = 2. If your stuff adds up to 10, it'll never get into 2. So don't overspend. As a matter of fact, contact your creditors if you're having trouble paying your bills. Ask for any extensions of time that you can get. Write the information down. Ask for names and ask for ID numbers. And if you don't get what you expect the first time, be patient and go back and ask again. Don't be afraid to ask for help during this season. As a woman, we don't have to always be the ones to do everything and carry the burden. It is okay to ask for help. And being the CEO of yourself means not only do you know how to lead, but you also know how to follow, and you know when to ask for help. Make sure that you educate. Get more skills, more knowledge, more education in the areas where you know you want to be fruitful and successful. Go seek out that additional course. If you don't know how to use Excel, learn. If you don't know how to use Dropbox, learn. If you've got a side hustle and you don't know how to use social media, learn. Now is the time to get the knowledge that you need to get where you're trying to go. Eradicate those feelings, family issues, friends, food, and fun who are not serving where you want to go, and align yourself with the people that you see yourself being like. Align yourself with the goals, and remember to not only attach yourself to a mentor, but also to a sponsor, someone who will vouch for you, someone who will speak for you, and someone who will put you in position when the time comes for you to go to the next level. And then, yes, of course, we're going to evaluate everything. Take a look at your expenses. Take a look at your finances. Take a look at, give yourself your own a job performance appraisal. Don't wait for someone else to give it to you. Take a look at what you're doing yourself. Take a look at your thoughts. Take a look at your energy. Take a look at how you execute, because as you begin to have more of a life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I respond mentality, and the glass is not half empty or half full, it's refillable, and I can keep filling it up and doing better and being better, then you will find that your evaluations will get better. And then, yes, as we execute, initiate, and communicate, open your mouth, be honest, be strong, be kind, be gentle, tell the truth, and keep showing up. It is our season, and I believe that beyond 2020, we're going to thrive, and I believe that beyond 2020 represents opportunity for us to continue to move and go to an entirely new and different level. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lynn. We greatly appreciate that inspiring information. We all need that positivity these days. We do have some questions, and let me see if I can get to some. First one that we have is a kind of specific, talking about the cost of health insurance. Health insurance is very expensive. Sometimes benefits are limited. This particular person would like to know if there are some that you think are better than others, and what do you think about HSAs as an example?
So I don't have any opinion about which healthcare plans are better than others. I'm not I wouldn't be able to speak to that because that's an individual decision. That's an individual discussion that should be had based on your family, based on the age, based on whether people are ill or not. So I wouldn't be able to say an HMO or PPO, or if need be, even having the assistance of, a state agency. I couldn't speak to that. But what I can say that anytime you get the opportunity to save money on taxes and that be a part of your healthcare strategy, then yes, do it. Because yes, you're right, healthcare can be very expensive. So the very first thing is I believe we're talking about healthcare reimbursement account on your job. If you have the opportunity to do that, to put that money in that account, if you know, for example, you've got to spend money on doctor visits for some issue that you're having or some condition that's happening or for a condition of a family member, put that money into the account, and then it's pre-tax dollars that you put in. And so you're going to ultimately have a lower adjusted gross income, which is then going to mean less taxes that you pay. Now, here's the next thing. And this is one of the reasons why it's important for everybody to have a home-based business. In addition to your corporate job, if you also now have a side consulting business that does not compete with your job, very, very clear about that, that does not compete, does not take away, and allows you to have corporate sense, S-E-N-S-E, and do the best on your job, but not use corporate sense, not using work time and so on and so forth. If you have a home-based business, you can now set up a self-employed healthcare reimbursement account. And the things that you could not deduct, for example, you cannot deduct the first 7.5% of medical expenses. So if you need braces, if your child needs braces, if you've got co-pays, if you've got co-insurance or healthcare premiums that you have to pay, those things are not tax deductible. But when you have a home-based business, you can open a self-employed health reimbursement plan, and now it's a business deduction. And so now you get to write off mileage to and from the doctor, doctor visits, co-pays, braces, chiropractic needs, prescriptions, and all of those things. So it really takes getting a complete financial education and then determining which medical program to choose. I highly recommend that you sit with either an HR consultant or a financial planner to help you make that decision.
That's great. Thank you very much. One of our entrepreneurs is interested in getting funding to start her business or entity. And she's wondering about things like grants, what might be available. We all know about loans and things like that, but what's your experience with some of that?
Well, if you're interested in getting a grant, then I'm going to tell you to get a business education because you're going to need it. You're going to need to have a proper business plan. If you started a business, you need to know what the difference is between a resolution. Do you have a corporate record book? Did you put in the proper resolution, dissolution agreement, operating agreement? Do you have a prospectus for that business? The Small Business Association has been known for being able to provide some assistance, but right now the Small Business Association is managing the crisis, I think, quite frankly. And so if you're going to apply for grants, take a look at your state agencies. Some states are still taking a look at those. Literally Google and search for nonprofits. And then, of course, also take a look at the Small Business Association. But before you apply for a grant, ensure that you've got a proper business education and all the documentation that you need, because it's a highly, highly competitive area trying to get a business grant.
So can you tell me, Dr. Lynn, you've been such a successful entrepreneur yourself for quite a while. Do you remember the last time you answered to someone else as an employee, and what that boss was like? Were there qualities in that person that you took either as an example of how you can run your business, or maybe a lesson in what not to do?
Absolutely. The last boss that I had, and I'm just going to be very, very frank, Tashonda Duckett, CEO of banking at Chase, JP Morgan Chase. She was absolutely fantastic. She was absolutely supportive. What I remember most about her was always providing opportunity for advancement and growth. And the thing that I learned most important from her are the things that I'm sharing now. Elevate, educate, eradicate, evaluate, and execute. Now, I did not get that list from her per se, but I looked at her habits and how she approached things, and electing herself CEO and taking responsibility and communicating with me as her subordinate, but also empowering me to expand beyond the job that I had. So I find that communication I find that the willingness to support and help, and then most importantly, I find the willingness and the desire to continue to getting an education. Again, life hits us and we get hit with so many things. We've got responsibilities at home. We've got the kids who need to do homework. We've got a significant other who needs attention. We've got a job that may be stressing us out, but I cannot stress enough getting educated and being sure that you are always continuing to improve yourself. And so even though I run multiple businesses now, I do answer to people, and I say this all the time. If you want to work really hard, then become an entrepreneur, because now you're working harder than ever before all the time. There is no quitting. And I have to answer to my students. I have to answer to my clients. I answer to my staff. The number one resource that I have as a business owner is my employees. It's not my customers, and it's not the service that I provide. It's the people who help me be great. Because if you have a great business and you have bad employees, then the business will fail. They'll lose the money, they'll, bad service, and so on and so forth. So I literally believe in pouring into the staff, and that's one of the best things that I've learned. So I report to people every single day, all the time.
That leads me to another question that someone wrote, which is, what resources can an entrepreneur use to build a strong team to help their business become efficient, to help them grow and develop better?
So, again, I'm going to say it goes back to education. I'd love to say that you could simply figure it out. I think that would be a lot of trial and error. I'd like to even suggest that if you're going to a college or a university, there are organizational behavior, organizational development programs, but depending on your tuition reimbursement situation, that may or may not be something that's available to you. But it's literally going to take an education. In Wealth University, in the Entrepreneurs Academy, I teach everything from how to start a business, how to grow and expand the business, to the Master Achievement Plan, where you literally create a blueprint for your business and an organization structure from day one. So it's going to take an education. It's going to take commitment. I think that there are additional opportunities to mentor and to work other unders. I say extend yourself to people who are doing the kind of work that you want to do. I went into the entertainment business by working for free, and I learned a lot. And then eventually I was in position to earn money for what I was doing, but the resources and the time that I received and the experience was absolutely invaluable. So I'd say volunteer your time, get an education, take a look at programs at places like your local community college, see what's available at your workplace for professional development. But if you really want to get a hands-on strategy, I'm going to have to say that it's going to take time to really, really dig into what it is that you want. Look at the personality of your business. Look at the personality of the people you want to hire. Figure out what it is that you want to do. Create a blueprint, and then begin to go from there.
Okay, do we have time for one more question, Dr. Lynn?
Oh, absolutely. I think we have plenty of time, I think.
Okay.
I think
all
we
right,
had
good. We have another
Yeah.
question. Do you have any resources that you recommend for business owners, such as apps or software programs that, help you stay, on track, or that are some of your favorites?
No, not really.
You actually, to me, Dr. Lynn, you're your own app. To me, you have so much energy.
I was like, I don't really have anything I've got things for finances. So TaxBot is great for your finances. So if you go to asklyn.org, I've got a ton of resources there. Apps and programs like Mint, apps like Calm to keep you calm. But, really, unfortunately, what I found that in the business space, I've personally not seen anything out there that I could say to an entrepreneur, if you go here, you're going to learn how to be better in business. And so it's one of the reasons why I created New Wealth University, to give people that opportunity. I do have the Wealthy World app. There's a ton of resources there that you can take a look at. There are budgeting apps out there, but really it comes down to getting involved and connected with a community of people who are learning and moving where you want to go. And hopefully you can fit in and find your place there and continue to thrive from there.
Dr. Lynn, can you give everyone your website address where they can find you?
Absolutely. AskLynn.org. If you go there, you'll find everything, and you'll also be able to send me any question that you have. And I do respond to all of my emails.
That's great. That's great. I can't thank you enough for your time today. There's one final question that I think might wrap it up here. And I know that you talked about this early on about making time for things. And this particular attendee is looking to retire, kind of like Sandy was mentioning, within the next few years. And she currently has her own travel business. She's wondering how, with all the full-time hours, and the long hours that she works, how does she make that time to getting that travel business to the point where it becomes her income after retirement?
So I'm going to say this, like I say to everybody, you're going to have to force the time. There's no such thing as not enough time. You absolutely positively have to make a decision. And so once you make that decision with your time, you're literally going to look at the number, the hours on the day. You're going to write them in your journal or write them in your planner, and then you're going to assign a time for the things that are important to you. In assigning time for the things that are important to you, then you're going to have to give up some things as well. So let me tell you many of the things that I gave up when I was in the same situation, and I continue to be in the same situation, because one of the things that happens, the more successful you get, the more responsibilities you get. And so I thought, well, wait a minute, we're going to run out of time, and that's not possible. So you've got to elevate, and then you've got to delegate. So let me tell you the first thing that I gave up. I gave up being everything to my kids. I gave up trying to be everything to my friends or family members, or, you know, if my mom wanted to ask me a question, she had to send me a text. She had an old flip phone. I said, until you get a real phone, we can't talk. I can't, because I can get to a text much quicker than I can get to a phone call with a question and so on and so forth. Now, did it mean I never spoke to my mom? No. But what it meant is that I took control of my time, and I made everyone respect my time. I remember my youngest daughter, she left her lunch at home. And one day I went and I took her the lunch, and the next day she left her lunch at home. I said, I guess you're going to be hungry, because I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping and taking the time to get you your lunch when you can actually be responsible and take your lunch. And so guess what? She never left her lunch again. And so when it came to things, meetings with friends and family members or whatever, no, I'm not going to drive to meet you anywhere to have a meeting, because I find that a lot of times people are just looking for social time. I don't need any social time. Do you want social time, or do you want money in retirement? You can't have both right now. If you actually give up your social time now, then you'll have a business working for you in retirement, and then you can use the social time later. So there's no such thing as there's no time. What there's none of is discipline. And what you've got to do is you've got to have the discipline, but more importantly, you've got to have the strength to stick to what it is that you say. And then I used to have conversations with people, because not only am I not going to just get on the phone and chit chat, not only am I not just going to take you your lunch, all of those are time zappers. They're time zappers, they're time wasters, and I've only got X amount of time. And then I need time for me. I need time to rest. Because once you spend energy, it's gone. It's not like you can use all your energy and then be good for anything else. So I'm just going to say to everybody has the exact same situation. And that is, we only have 24 hours in the day. And in that 24 hours, we all have to make decisions about how we're going to use that time. And I'm going to say toughen up, because sometimes it's just a matter of, you don't want to be rude. You don't want to seem like you're not helping people. I don't care if you think I'm rude. I don't care if you think I'm not helping you. I don't care what you think, because what I know is I'm trying to get to a better place. So because I put those boundaries in place, when my mother needed my help, I was able to buy her a house. When my father needed the help, I was able to do these things. When my children needed my help, because I stuck to my guns, I put some boundaries in place so that I could achieve what I needed to achieve to be able to help them later. And so that's what I'm going to say to everyone about time. Take it back. It's yours.
That's perfect. All right. So everybody, we are going to elevate, educate, eradicate, evaluate, and execute. Do I have that right, Dr. Lynn?
Execute and communicate.
Execute and communicate. I throw in my little C there, right? All right.
Right.
Dr. Lynn, thank you so very much. This has been a wonderful keynote address. I know that our entrepreneurs and female leaders have enjoyed it. We are all looking forward. We're going to visit asklynn.org to learn more about you. And everyone, thank you so much from Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. Hudson Valley Credit Union. I can't believe I said federal. Oh gosh. We changed our name last year. You'd think I remember that by now. But everyone, thank you so much. Go to hvcu.org for more information about our Women in Business. Remember, we did have 2 panels last week, and we have those on-demand sessions that you can watch as well. Dr. Lynn, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And everyone, please stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you so much.